Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today is Friday, January 13th, 2017. Welcome to another episode of the Crazy New York Driver Show. You'll notice there is no sign in back of me today. That's because it's quite windy out, and you know what happens, that sign constantly blows down. It's windy and it's cold, but it's actually sunny out, which is the first time in about 2.5 weeks we've had sun. It has rained or snowed here every day this week, bar none, except for today. So it's lucky we can get this video cranked out. Today we're going to discuss lost shipments, lost eBay shipments with the post office. We're also going to discuss more about eBay contact, e-checks, best match, lowball offers, and a few other things that you guys commented on last week or have contacted me on email. So let's get started. First of all, as always, we'll talk about our sales. My sales this week were somewhat lackluster. I had one super busy day. That was Monday. All the other days were mediocre at best, but Monday was just plain killer. It was one of those non-stop days you love. Well, I had one, and it was Monday, so I hope your sales were good. If you wish to comment on them, feel free to do so below. Several of you guys wrote in last week and said you too get eBay contacts in the middle of the night. I'm kind of surprised that so many people do. I thought maybe it was something that just happened to me, but it seems to be quite a few of you guys are getting it as well. So it's not a big deal. Also, a few of you guys wrote in about lowball offers. That is something we're going to always have to deal with. Lowball offers are just part of the nature of the beast. Okay? Again, lowball offers don't bother me. I had a guy the other day wanted to buy 2 Ford caps from me, and he offered me a lowball offer of 40 bucks, and I said no. I said because I have to pay shipping, eBay fees, and PayPal fees. So he wrote back and he said, well, what do you think would be a good offer? Anytime somebody writes that, it's too ambiguous. It almost never works out, I feel. If a guy hits me with a legit offer and says, for instance, I'll give you $50 with shipping included, I will say to him, okay, that's a fair offer and I'll accept it, providing you're willing to buy the items today. And if he comes back to me and says, yes, I will, I'll deal with him. But often I will never hear from the guy again, which means he was only just fishing around in the first place. Again, I have no problem dealing with legit buyers when they make me an offer less than what I'm asking, so long as it's not a fishy offer. And you can always smell a fishy offer if you say to them, yes, I'm willing to accept your price if you're willing to buy the item today. And then you don't hear from the guy again. And I know that's happened to a lot of you guys too. It's not just me. Somebody had mentioned in last week's video that the best match option had disappeared, but that is not the case, because anytime I try and buy something on eBay, best match always appears first, and I always circumvent best match and I go to items ending soonest, because that's where I can get my best price on eBay, is with the items that are ending soonest. If I see something that's cheap, I can jump in and snipe it within the last 30 seconds or so, because I never, ever bid days ahead of time. Absolutely never. I'll put it in my watch list and I'll wait till a few minutes or even seconds before the item is going to end. I find that works best for me. I get my best deals, and I've always done it that way. Case in point, years ago, you could track what your competition was bidding on in the early days of eBay. So if somebody bid on an item 6 days ahead of time, I would, instead of doing all the research and searching what was for sale on eBay, I had just 4 or 5 big sellers who sold the same items as I did, and I would track what they were bidding on 6 days ahead of time, put all that stuff in my watch list, and then snipe it at the very end. It was cool, man. But you can't do that anymore. This is the first quarter of the year, and those of you guys with eBay stores are entitled to free eBay shipping supplies. Please take advantage of that. It will be of no cost to you. If you have a basic store, you get $25 worth of items. If you have a premium store, you get $50 worth. And if you have the anchor store, those are your big box sellers, $75 worth. In order to redeem your coupon, it's very easy. Just start in your seller hub. Scroll down on the left side where it says Manage My Store. Click on that. On the next screen, on the top left, you'll see a little hyperlink that says, I think, subscriber benefits or subscriber discounts, with a little green check mark next to it. Just click on that. Bang, you'll see your coupon code. Copy and paste that when you check out from the eBay store called eBay Shipping Supplies. That is the seller that is contracted by eBay to handle the eBay shipping supplies. Your tape, your boxes, and everything. So please, guys, don't let your coupon go to waste. Use it or lose it, and you must use it all at one time. If your coupon's for $50, you can't spend $30 today and $20 tomorrow. All $50 has to be spent in one load. Do not waste a penny of it. Let us now get on to the main topic of today's video, which is eBay shipments that are getting lost through the post office. However, first, may I please stop and get myself a drink from the official cup of the Crazy New York Driver Show? Oh, yes! Yes, indeed! I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's really, really windy out here. But anyway, a couple of people wrote in last week about their shipments disappearing through the post office, cases being opened against them, etc. So I want to cover this really briefly, because it happened to me a while back. For the most part, all of my shipments get where they're going with no problem. Occasionally, things do get lost. Twice at Christmas time, I had issues, and I will explain them to you right now because I think this is what's been happening to some of you guys. So, I got contacted by a buyer in the middle of December, and he says, Joe, I bought this item from you 6 days ago, and it hasn't arrived. I checked the tracking, it shows you shipped it out, but instead of going from New Jersey to California, they sent it down to Florida. Could you let me know what's going on? So, okay. I decided to go into my seller hub and check. And sure enough, I checked the shipment tracking details, and it shows it left my house, but instead of going out west to California, it goes down south to Florida. And there's no reason for that. It was misrouted by the post office. Okay? Now, I know that has happened to some of you guys. In my case, I was lucky. The guy did not open a case. He just sent a question for seller. So I said to him, let me check into it. I said, this has happened in the past. Not often, but it has happened in the past. And it usually works out where you get the item in 3 or 4 days. So I went to the post office and I asked them about it. And they gave me that phone number to call. And let me tell you something. It is hard to get a person on the line. It really is. And also, if you try and file a claim through the website, which is something I've really never had success with. I know some of my friends have had success with it. It can be a bit daunting. But anyway, the post office corrected the mistake in my case, rerouted the item to California, and the man did get his package. However, it took like another 3 days for him to get it. But I was very lucky that I had a good buyer, and he contacted me directly, and no case was opened. Now, in last week's video, somebody wrote in and told their story about where a similar thing happened, only the person opened a case for item not received. And PayPal put a hold on their funds, so this person said they were not able to actually give a refund to the buyer, and that eventually eBay sided with the buyer because the person did not receive their item. So this person lost the item and the money involved. And their question was, is it possible for the buyer to get their money back and keep the item if the item eventually arrives at their house? And what you'd have to do in that case is, if, let's just say, a week elapses and you go back and the tracking shows it did, in fact, reach the buyer, you have to call eBay again. Even though they ruled against you, you have to call them a second time, and you have to tell them to check the tracking that it shows it was now delivered. In that case, the defect will be removed and eBay will credit you the money back. Are you with me on this? Because it's difficult, I know. It doesn't happen often. It's a very unusual case. But in this case, what you have to do is, if you sell an item to someone and it shows it was lost or never delivered, and eBay rules against you and you lose your money, but then later in the week or the next week it shows it was eventually delivered, you have to call eBay so that you get that strike removed against you, and they will also give you your money back. Okay? Don't get all bent out of shape. Don't worry. It doesn't happen a lot. It happened to somebody on last week's video, and I thought it was important that I should talk about that this week. Okay? Again, my shipments have been lost a few times too, but I've been lucky. They've always gotten to the buyer in a reasonable time, like within 3 or 4 days after he contacted me. So no case was ever opened against me, and I never had to go through what that poor person had to go through. But anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about today. Please comment on any eBay topics you want below. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you know what to do. And I think you also know who I am. I'm Crazy New York Driver, and you're not. I make these videos every week to help you sell on eBay. I hope you all make a ton of money, because I am a seller friend, not a seller critic. Thanks for watching. See you next week, and peace. Yeah!